Hello, everyone, and welcome to All In TBT. I'm your host, Charlie Benami, and I've got a special guest with me today, Brent Jackson of Tampa. Brent, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Had my coffee this morning, had a little bit of food. I'm feeling good, ready for this interview. Let's get it going.
All right. So, before you became a player for TBT earlier in your career, obviously you went to college, and you spent 2 years at Tabor College, and then you moved on to Columbus State. So, what was that experience like for you?
Those two experiences were very critical for me becoming a pro. Um, I didn't initially think I wanted to become a pro until I had my experiences at Tabor and I had my experiences at Columbus State. Um, Really just kind of just like, man, like I can just push it a lot further than what I've taken it. Because I didn't necessarily take basketball seriously until about my junior year in college. I didn't start training real hard. I didn't start thinking the game, didn't really study the game like that until about my junior year in college. So I mean, really, it's just like, okay, I learned this, I learned that. I added a chip here, I added a chip there, and it was just like, man, I'm hungry. I want to see how far I can take this.
So that really, those two schools, you really learned that you want to do this. This is how you're going to train, and I bet the coaching staffs were instrumental in helping you figure out how you get to that next level.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that, because I'm not going to say I had bad coaches, but I didn't have coaches that were in my favor. I'll just say
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
I started as a freshman, and I started as a sophomore at Tabor, but it just leaned to the point to where it was just like I felt like I was just being undervalued.
Yeah.
As a player. So that's reason why I left Tabor. I think I was like a top three-point shooter in the nation for NAIA at one point. I
Mm-hmm.
was averaging 20 some points a game, and just randomly one day I just get kicked off the start lineup. So I was just like, all right, so this may be a sign that I need to leave. So I ended up actually leaving in the middle of the season. And Columbus State came about right after I was going to try and walk on at Texas Tech.
Okay.
But I ended up playing in a military tournament that summer before signing to Columbus State. And my assistant coach was just like, hey, man, where you play at? I'm like, oh, yeah, I just got accepted into Texas Tech. I'm about to go walk on at their program. He was like, hey, I can get you a full ride.
Okay. Wow.
Now in hindsight, I wish I would have taken the Texas Tech just to see like where that would have taken me. But like I said, like I learned certain things at Columbus State. You know what I'm saying? And that made me want that just gave me more of a hunger of the game and just wanted like it really solidified my decision to become a pro athlete at Columbus State.
Gotcha. So, once you did get your minutes at Columbus State, you were able to win make the All Peach Belt second team as a senior. You only started one game as a junior, then you really got your stuff going in your senior year. So, what was your senior year like, and what was it like to kind of prove to your coaches, not only at Columbus State, but also it seems like at Tabor, once you give me this playing time, this is what I can do?
Let me go ahead and go back to my junior year real quick. Only reason why I went there was because the coach is like, hey man, I like the way you play. I can see you starting. Not knowing the ins and outs, I ended up splitting with a 3-year senior. So that's why I didn't really play that much. Should have played a lot more. And my senior year, me and the coach had our exit meeting going into my senior year, the summer of my senior year. Hey, you know what? We're going to go through you, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up staying, doing summer school, working my ass off. I'm sorry for saying my ass, but
All good.
and 2-3 weeks later, he was just like, oh no, we're going to go through somebody else. So I'm just like, oh, okay. So, all right, well, I only have 1 year left. Should I stay or should I leave? Ended up staying. And granted, I had good numbers. I believe I averaged like 17 a game. shot like 40% from the three.
Mm-hmm.
We won the regular season. But I feel like, man, just that year in general, man, just, you know, I've had the coach tell me like, oh, we don't need you on the team. Like just that like underlying issue of just being undervalued. And it's just like, dude, like, we lose a lot of the games that we don't win because of me. But I don't say that because it's just like, okay, I'm gonna keep that to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, man, like it ended up being a good season. I should have been first team because we won the regular season. My PG got first team. He averaged, I believe, 19 points a game. I averaged 17. But you know, politics go into that.
Yeah. Sure.
So I was just like, okay, that's just another chip. Okay, cool. It is what it is. So, I mean, we kind of just went from there. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and add that chip to my shoulder. Let's get ready. Because I actually signed to go play in Argentina right after the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, you know what? You guys can have this one. I'm finna progress from here on out.
Gotcha. So, this chip on your shoulder definitely makes me realize before I wrote this as I wrote this question, definitely I see more why now. But you said your favorite basketball player of all time was Allen Iverson. So can you go into a little bit just what AI represents to you and why he is your favorite baller of all time?
Man, so Allen Iverson. So I actually really kind of have three. I really kind of have three.
All right, let me hear him.
Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade, and Ginobili.
Okay.
Allen Iverson was just simply the fact of like the undersized guard
Mm-hmm.
that can really just kind of do anything. He's got that fire in him. You know what I'm saying? He has that competitiveness, and he doesn't back down. Dwayne Wade, you know, flash, like athleticism, jumper, you know, is like a jack of all trades. And then you have Ginobili where you just have that European game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's finesse. It's fluid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying none of their games are fluid, but I feel like Manu Ginobili just kind of had that extra, like, pizzazz to him.
Get a little sauce on him, you know?
He did. You know, if you look at Luka, like, he's smooth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, you really, I mean, you don't see a lot of that. I mean, yes, you see a lot of it, but, like, I feel like just American players and European players, there's just something that's just totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily I don't know how to describe it in words, but if you've seen it personally, you would know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So you spent last season playing before the pandemic. You were playing in Brazil. So what was the experience like? How'd you adjust living in Brazil? I know you've been around for a lot of things for your professional career. And how's Brazil rank on those professional pursuits?
Brazil is definitely top one for sure. When it comes to professionalism and just structure, facilities, you know, food, culture, I definitely put them on top one. I enjoyed every minute of it when it came to just, you know, living and experiencing the culture, seeing the people, interacting with the people, and even interacting with teammates. You know, I have love for, you know, all my teammates, but like there was just something special about the Brazilian players that I played with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a few of us, we did a few Bible studies together, which was pretty cool. Like I said, man, food was good, culture was good, music's good. Basketball was good. It was a learning experience for sure. This year, I was hurt most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I had an issue with my knee. But you know, just on the court, it was a battle this year. You know, when you go into a new league, you know, they don't necessarily respect you, for lack of better words. You know, I was called a rookie simply due to the fact that, oh, well, this is your first year here, like you're a rookie.
But you know you're not a rookie, and I
Right.
can see how that's like. I'm not a rookie. I've been doing this for a while.
Right. But I mean, just the way that they played basketball, they played the right way. They played the European style way. I got an opportunity to play with two of the best Brazilians to ever play the game of basketball, Leandro Barbosa and Alex Garcia.
Oh wow.
So I learned a lot through them this year, and I just had a great supporting cast. When it came to my Americans, Devin, Scott, and Tyrone. Um, so I mean, it was good. I had my own personal battles, on and off the court.
Hmm.
But Brazil was definitely an eye opener, and it's just like every experience you go through, it just adds another chip to your shoulder to try to get to the best possible scenario that you can be in, to where you can be comfortable and have a living doing this.
Hmm.
So
So now to get into kind of the TBT portion of our interview. So how'd you originally get involved with the tournament, and what about it have you liked that you has you coming back for another year this year?
so when I first moved to Florida, and I believe it was 2016. Yeah, it was the summer of 2016. I moved to Florida. Um, I had met LaRon Smith, our big man on the team,
Okay.
and I had jumped around from Orlando to Tampa and did like small little money tournaments or whatever, and just kind of just got my face out there, got my name out there. But LaRon knew Matt Michelle beforehand, and he was just like, "Hey, I got this guard." So basically, LaRon put me on, and we kind of just went from there. And they brought me back every year. But the TBT, man, I love it for the exposure aspect of it. Simply because of just the talent level that the TBT kind of brings. It's got like the March Madness, style to it, but it's really
Yeah.
like it's March Madness, but at the pro level.
Hmm.
You're playing against guys that play Euro Cup, Euro League, top league China, CBA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just everywhere in the world. And me being a Division II guy, we don't necessarily get a lot of respect simply because we play Division II. So when you're on a platform like that, and for instance, when we played CP3 last season, all those guys on that roster are Division I athletes. So I'm the type of person where I don't do too much talking. I just let my game speak for itself.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of what I like the TBT for, man. It's just kind of like that exposure aspect of things, the competition, and it really just kind of tests you and kind of sees. It allows to see where you're at as a pro and
Yeah.
as a basketball player.
So I see you're repping the Tampa 2020 shirt. I got to get your opinion on the little rebrand to War Tampa. Have you gotten a check out at the uniforms yet?
No, I haven't, but I feel like they're gonna be fire. I was a big fan of the green and black, and
Hmm.
I was hoping this year, third year's a charm. 2020 was in our name. So I was hoping we were able to go to like the triple black, kind
Hmm.
of be on like a
Yeah.
Darth Vader vibe, like we're coming to kill everything. Um, but the rebrand, man, I mean, that's great all in itself. You know what I'm saying? Like this year, it was a limited spot, and we knew that we had to do something to solidify a spot into the TBT this year.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We had to rebrand ourselves. We had to get, I wouldn't necessarily say high profile players, but we got guys that we got Fletch McGee, the all-time three-point maker in college. We've
Guys,
got Bryce Brown. We got
absolute snipers. Some
he
absolute
does. That
snipers
dude's got a
on the
clip.
squad this year.
He's got a clip. We got Bryce Brown, Horace Spencer that played at Auburn where they went to the Final Four. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, definitely some
we
guys.
needed that, we needed that stuff this year to help us get over that. You know what I'm saying? And especially with the Auburn fan support, man, those dudes are crazy.
Yeah.
Auburn probably which I personally, they probably have one of the best fan bases in college.
Mhm. Great fan base.
So yeah, that I mean, that's kind of what got us in. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, like Tampa 2020 is where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where it started. War Tampa. Maybe the logo, but that's like that's just on the
Tampa
front of things. But
2020
this
is
is really what it is. This is the heart of it. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So you were kind of talking about it in that last answer, but you guys really do have just a great 3-point shooting team. We got you, who's really proved yourself in your professional career to have the 3-point ability. We've got Fletcher McGee, like you said, the all-time leader in NCAA made threes. Bryce Brown was the best 3-point shooter on a Final Four team. So how does that make you guys hard to guard, and how does that change the way teams have to prepare to play War Tampa?
Honestly, man, you can't help on anybody. You really can't, because we got guys that can one dribble pull up, like, man, it's just hand down, man down. We're going to be, a lot of transition threes. Like, we're just going to be running and gunning. We're going to be playing probably Houston Rocket basketball, Golden State, getting down in transition, running the floor. Like, our bigs, gazelles, running up and down, running up and down, running up and down. Like, I believe we're going to live and die by the three. 4 or 5 games to win the whole thing. I mean, I like our odds on that, especially when we have snipers like that at every single position.
And like you said, it's very NCAA tournament-like, and we've watched the NCAA tournament before. We know if a team just gets really hot from three for a couple of games, that can really carry them. In fact, that Auburn team, that's kind of what happened. They could not miss during that tournament when they made the Final Four.
Very true. Very true.
So last year, I know this is probably a sore spot for you guys. I mean, it was a great game. I remember watching it. Tampa 2020 versus Team CP3. You guys lost by 3. It was a tough one. You played really well, 17 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. So can you kind of take me through that game a little bit? What went right for you and what you guys needed to do better?
I think once I just saw that first 3 go in, I was just like, okay, cool. I have a good feel for the ball, so I'm gonna just keep shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And they were falling, and then it kind of just started a roller coaster effect. Everybody just kind of started hitting, and everything was rolling. I believe we got up by 17, 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came down to the elim ending, we went cold for 1, and 2, we just could not get a stop. And with me kind of fouling out, which that rarely happens in any setting. I'm not going to say that is why it hurt us, but it definitely did hurt us.
Yeah.
But I mean, that we kind of revamped our team, not only through just shooting, but defensively as well. Because we have 2 great shot blockers in Horace Spencer and LaRon, and then we have guards. We have big guards this season. I think the shortest guy on our team this year is probably going to be Walter Hodge at 6 foot, but everybody else 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". So we'll definitely be able to clamp down on defense this year, as well as putting up a lot of threes, a lot of transition buckets, and just playing ball.
Yeah, I think. Do you feel like this team, in your opinion, kind of is a little more kind of 3-point oriented and a little more on the skill level of, I'd say, in terms of like just shooting the 3 and kind of being like a 3-and-D kind of team where you guys can lock them up, you can clamp them up defensively and kind of get out there and run those threes like more so than last year?
I would say our overall firepower on the 3-point line is better, but we still have guys that can play the pick and roll, get us easy buckets in the half court set as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think necessarily we're just going to rely on the 3-pointer, but at the same time, we're just going to go with what's working. So if we're hitting early on, we're going to let them things go. But we also have a veteran point guard and Walter Hodge. Okay, no, we need to slow it down. We're going to let him go through the pick and rolls. I'm sure I'll go through some pick and rolls. Bryce will go through some pick and rolls. And, we'll try to make something easy for either our teammates in the corners, wings, or for our bigs, you know what I'm saying, in short corner on the block. So, I mean, we got 4 days. in practice when we go up to Ohio to figure that out. But I think we're gonna launch a lot of threes, but we're also gonna make sure that we have something solid in the half court set.
All right. So just to top this off, I think that, in my opinion, just looking through the bracket, you guys kind of got it's a tough draw. You're at that 16-17 first game, so you're starting on one of the you're starting in that situation then. So I think you're playing a really tough team in House of Pain. That's the Illinois alumni team that has more than just Illinois alumni this year. And then if you win that game, you take on the defending champion. So a little bit of a gauntlet to start it off. Obviously, in a tournament like this, a lot of skill. Everything's almost a gauntlet. But how do you guys prepare for that, and how do you kind of get through a tough start to the tournament and to be able to stay through and eventually get that prize of the $2 million and the win?
I actually kind of like where they put us.
Okay.
Simply because, like you said, we have players that have played in this tournament and have done really well. And like you said, it's like March Madness, but at the pro level. Everybody's improved. And yes, we have a young team, but we have a team where we have vets. We have guys that have played 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So we do have that experience. And I haven't necessarily looked at Illinois alumni's team.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that we're going to come in with that mindset where it's just we pedal to the metal off rip. We're going to knock out our mistakes that game. And I mean, honestly, we're going to come in with either a hot hand in transition on the 3, or we're going to come in with a hot hand defensively in the half court set. And we kind of just got to figure that out in practice. We got to figure out, obviously we already know kind of what our identity is, but we need to solidify that, as soon as we get to Ohio when we have the entire team together. But with the way that they have us placed in the tournament, they already have us predicted to win the first game. We already kind of have that in our mindset. And then, you beat the defending champs, man, that confidence just goes through the roof.
Could carry you through the rest of the –
And it can definitely – correct. It can definitely carry us, through the whole thing. So, I mean, that's kind of what we're like – that's kind of our mindset right now. Beat the first team. We already know Carmen's crew, they're going to come with some heat, you know what I'm saying, in every position.
Very good.
So it's really hey, I feel like our entire team individually, we're all built like that. So y'all are going to get our best game.
That's a message to every team that they're going to get the best of Tampa 2020. So thank you so much, Brent. I really enjoyed interviewing you. I'm really excited to see you guys Tampa 2020 War Tampa this year. Watch out for them. They're going to be draining threes, playing some good defense, and making buckets. So thanks so much for coming on, Brent. And we have another interview coming up right now.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.